We are live, Minty.
Let's wait for people to join in.
Hmm.
Yeah. I see we have a couple of folks. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session. This is Minty. We have Aakerschika here, who would introduce herself. She's a clinical pet nutritionist. Aakerschika, over to you.
Hi, all. So I am a clinical pet nutritionist, and I have studied Bach remedies, homeopathy, and biochemical salt tissues for animals, cats and dogs both. I do both the companion pets, and today we're here to talk about, um, I think, natural remedies for dogs and cats, right?
Exactly.
Minty is, I requested Minty to host me today, this live, because she's one of my closest friends and she does fostering, medical fostering. She is a rescue coordinator and she has a lot of experience with cats and dogs.
So we're gonna have quite a discussion today. We'll be talking about natural home remedies. We'll be talking about basic home care, first aid for pets, how you can prepare your own holistic natural first aid kits, some quick homeopathic fixes that some medicines that you can keep home handy always. Then we'll talk about batch flour, what is batch flour, and some remedies. Then, in the end of the session, we'll talk about a couple of do's and don'ts that we can do in terms of emergencies. So, to start with, let's talk about natural home remedies. So, Akashika, over to you. What's some?
So I've seen a lot of, pet parents out there and they have, um, emergency situations at home where the vet is closed down or it's night or it's a weekend and they're not available. So you can always, there are things you find at home and you can maybe create a natural first aid kit for your pet that you can use in emergency cases such as these. And then there are some minor issues, for new parents. I've seen them getting very agitated even if it's the smallest thing happening with the
And
dog or the
panic also.
cat.
You get worried; they get panicked.
Yeah, so for these people, I would say, you can always just, start with the natural remedy, with the natural treatment. And if you see it working for you, then you don't really need a vet visit. But if it's something serious, if it's something that's just popped up, just please go to the vet. I'm not saying don't go to the vet. Going to the vet is very, very essential and crucial here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, can you talk about a few natural remedies for basic things which, as pet parents, like someone like me who has a cat and a dog both.
Hmm.
So, as
Hmm.
a pet parent for in a multi-pet household, what are
Hmm.
the things that we should keep handy?
I would say, when talking about homeopathy, I think you should have arnica and sulfur, in your drawer all the time because when it comes to anything that is traumatic, anything that is that has, maybe an injury or fever, anything that's left your dog anxious, you can always use arnica for that. And nux vomica can be in handy if your dog has a colic issue, if he's throwing up, if he's diarrhea. You can always go for nux vomica. It works wonders, but the dosage you have to keep in mind. You need to ask your vet for the dosage, or you need to reach out to a professional who knows about homeopathy for animals before going into these things. In oils, I would say you could get coconut oil, virgin coconut oil, not the ones that use the cosmetic ones, not those. Virgin coconut oil, you can get tea tree oil, you can get lavender oil, and olive oil. These are, some of the oils we use in the daily basis when it comes to treating animals. Even for minor injuries, these can be used. In peppermint oil. And talking about backflower remedies, so I personally have three or four favorites. Like, there are a lot of backflower remedies out there. That So backflower remedies are basically just flower essences that can be used to treat your dog, and they are holistic, they're natural, so there's no harm that can be done using these, especially with cats, because for cats, you can't use a lot of herbs and a lot of other essential oils. For them, black flower works wonderful. So crab apple should be something that should be in hand, that should be handy, that should be in your first aid kit. Then there's rescue remedy, and there's olive, and then there is hornbeam. These four backflowers remedies I recommend to every and anyone who owns a pet.
Okay, so does batch flour has any side effects? What is batch flour?
Bach flower is basically a flower essence. Like, there are different plants, every flower has a different kind of healing property. So these are basically the essences extracted from those flowers, and they
Okay.
can be used to treat animals, especially when it comes to animals that are having behavioral issues, or that are stressed, that have anxiety.
Hmm.
um, these and that, pets that are just rehomed, or they are adapting to a particular change.
Yeah.
Even for, I would say, pets that have travel sickness, motion
Okay.
sickness, for them also you can use these.
Okay, there are also pets. I've seen a lot of pet parents trouble because their dogs or cats are not very comfortable with car rides. So
Right.
and homeopathy can be used for that as well, right?
Yes, yes, definitely. For them, homeopathy and backflow can be used. Homeopathy, may you can use arnica for them if they are, prone to throwing up while traveling, or you can give them copious half an hour before you travel. That's another homeopathic medicine. And Ipecac you can also give. So Ipecac basically helps with dogs who throw up a lot when they travel, or who salivate a lot. So
Okay,
a combination of these two can be given before you travel with your pet.
got it, got it. And excessive salivation is something that we are talking about when it happens
Hmm.
due to stress. Otherwise, if your
Right.
dog or cat is salivating, please rush to a vet. Okay.
This
And then
is just when you're traveling with your pet and they tend to salivate a lot because of nausea. This is for only for that case.
yeah, correct. So Damayanti is asking where are these medicines available? So I think you can get them at any homeopathy store.
Some homeopathy stores have them, some don't. I would recommend you can go online on 1mg and get them if you're talking about backflower remedies. Now, backflower remedies are just remedies, they are not per se medicines. If you're talking about homeopathic medication, then you can get that at a homeopathic store.
Okay. So what are the basic medicines, homeopathy or ingredients, natural ingredients that we should always have at home? I see that you mentioned arnica, which is for
Hmm.
trauma, pain, injury, stress, and
Right.
I think arnica works well for fever also, right? I mean, I've used arnica
Arnica
before.
works well for fever, as well as I think in certain cases I've seen sulfur also working really well. If it's low fever, if it's something your dog is otherwise healthy but is having low fever, then you can give sulfur. But for fevers, I would recommend, it's always better to take a damp cloth, like not a cold, but just damp cloth with like cool water,
Yeah.
and rub it on the paws and rub it on the ears till the fever gets down. That is something that you can do, help getting the fever down. And if the fever continues, please, if it's night, do this. If the fever continues, just take your dog to a vet. Or if it's daytime and your vet is available, without any further delay, just take your dog to the vet and check what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, and you were saying the most common remedies, right? So I would say everyone should have olive oil at home, virgin olive oil. Everybody should have coconut oil at home. For dogs, I would say peppermint essential oil. This can help in colic issues, gastric issues. But for cats, no. For cats, it can cause pneumonia in cats.
Oh,
And other than that, tea tree essential oil is great for dogs for disinfecting. Then grapefruit seed extract is really, really great for disinfecting. If your dog is suffering from poisoning, you can just use that in emergency cases, because it drives all the toxins out of the system.
okay.
Um, yeah.
Okay. Another question, I'm very curious here.
Hmm.
Just like in humans, when you're giving homeopathy, you should, there
Hmm.
are some precautions to follow that don't eat 15 minutes prior to it, 15 minutes after it. So there's a
Hmm.
way of taking homeopathy. Is this the same with animals? Like how to administer homeopathy
Yes, yes.
medicines?
You should be, your dog should be on empty stomach and before and after, he shouldn't have any food.
Okay.
And so mostly we give 30 Ca potency in animals. 30
30
C
C.
is the best, yeah, 30 C is the potency, best potency you can go for until unless you're using tincture. And
Okay.
2-3 pellets a day depending on the weight of the dog, 3 times. That should suffice when talking about homeopathy. And then there are certain homeopathic medications that can also be used as compresses, like comfrey aata hai, homeopathy ka tincture. You can use that to kind of taking care of bruising on the legs, or if there's a sudden injury at night and there's bruising, there's pain, you can just add the tincture to a little water, soak it
Mhm.
in warm water, and you can use that to compress the wound. That helps, that works wonder for them.
Okay. Okay. And even if they lick it, it's safe. Like we don't have to worry, right?
Yeah, comfrey is, it can be ingested also, but with cats you have to be careful.
Okay. Can it cause
cats
toxic?
cats cats I would not recommend ingesting comfrey.
Got it. Got it. And should there be gap between homeopathy medicines and batch flour if you're administering anything together or allopathic medicine?
Backflower 2 to 3 times a day, homeopathy 2 to 3 times a day, morning, evening, night. Backflower you can you can directly drop it on the tongue, 3-4 drops, or you can mix it in say 1/4 cup of water, and you can just administer it to your dog or cat.
Got it. Got it. Then we have another question here. My 3-month-old German Shepherd is recovered from parvo. What kind of home remedy can I give him to improve his immunity?
Okay, I would say you could go for a combination of backflower remedies here that kind of
Mhm.
boost the immunity. So one is crab apple. Go for crab apple. Then go for olive. Olive will kind of strengthen your dog. And then you can go for hornbeam. Hornbeam also, kind of if your dog is really sick or has been through a lot, it boosts the immunity. So these three backflower remedies you can use. So I don't know the size of your weight of your dog, but it usually is 2 to 3 drops 3 times a day.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Can this be mixed in food, or should they be giving it alag se?
You can drop it directly on the tongue of your dog, or you can just add it in 1/4 cup of water and just give it to your dog via syringe. But I think adding directly to the tongue is the easiest way to do it.
What should be the dose of arnica?
Arnica, see again, depending on the weight of your dog, and arnica comes in tincture and pellet forms both. So if you're giving pellets, 2 to 3 pellets 3 times a day. But this is depending on the emergency of the situation. If it's like something that is, very, very serious, then I would say repeating the dosage every hour or so. But then the dosage would totally depend on the weight of your dog. I would say for that, I think you should get in touch with a vet who knows homeopathy, or you can get in touch with a nutritionist who is aware about this, and you can ask them the dosage.
Got it. Also, it's important to know that this also depends on species, whether you have a cat or a dog.
Yes,
Just yeah. So just be very careful when you're
for
using.
cats, I can recommend more than 2 pellets.
I'm sorry, I think my dog is also trying to participate in the video.
Say hi to him for me.
I
That's
think
Gongula, right?
hi to everyone. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Next, should we talk about maintenance of different conditions with homeopathy and batch flower? Like, for example, I have a dog who has a hip dysplasia. So
Hmm.
I give Monica and Causticum a lot for maintenance. So, what do you think is the role of homeopathy and batch flower for maintaining dogs or cats with medical conditions? How does
I
homeopathy or
think I think this is the safest and the most chemical-free way out there, and it does help a lot. And not only why just Bach flower and homeopathy, I would say you can even add food items to your food. Like say dogs that are suffering from arthritis or hip dysplasia need glucosaminoglycans. They need chondroitin in their meals, so you can add chicken feet to their meals. And that is because that is I would say one feet is about 500 mg of chondroitin and glucosaminoglycans. So that is really going to help your dog. So you can use things that you get available, that are available in market, and that we all use in our daily life to kind of address to these issues.
makes sense? Makes sense. We have a very interesting question here. My almost 3 years old GST has sensitive stomach. She gets
Hmm.
upset issues, loose motions every
Hmm.
now and then. What should be done? Please suggest.
She has what? Loose motions and
I think it's just loosies, sensitive stomach. The dog is
hmm.
3 years old, and it's every
Okay.
now and then, so looks like it's very frequent.
Okay, so I would say add what is the weight? I don't know the weight. So depending on the weight, you can add, say, starting 1/4 to half teaspoon of ginger paste. That is really great and boost the digestive system a lot. Adding peppermint as the herb peppermint. If you can buy peppermint online, the herb, or you can buy it in grocery stores. Just take a pinch of that and sprinkle it on the food. That will help with the colic issues. And you can also use a course of Nux Vomica for the coming month or 3 months. Get in touch with your vet or get in touch with your nutritionist. Ask them how much is to be given as per their weight and what should be the potency of it. If and when she suffers from pain, then there's this colocynthis medication, homeopathica. You can use that when and if she's in pain. And if she's vomiting after eating, you can use phosphorus. That is again a homeopathic treatment. You can also get chamomile tea from market, and you can just give it to her after every meal, say half cup of it after every meal. That suits the stomach down. And you might want to get in touch with your vet also and check what is the underlying issue that is causing this, because there has
Very
to be
important.
something, right, that is causing this, and you need to get to the bottom of that.
Correct. Also, deworming.
Hmm.
Deworming is very important. I've seen many people, they feel that the dog or the cat doesn't need deworming for a year. But if your dog is going out for walks, your dog is meeting other animals, if you have multi-pet household, please contact your vet. Make sure that the deworming is regular. And definitely, I totally agree with you. There has to be a issue for why it is repeating so much. So contact
Exactly.
your vet. Yeah, get to a diagnosis for why
Maybe
is
get
it.
a stool test and culture done to check, if there's some kind of parasite that is infesting. Like I've seen this in E. coli cases a lot, where so E. coli is something that is already present in the intestines, but if it grows, like if there's a population, and if it goes out of control, then that becomes an E. coli infection. So I would say you can get a stool culture done to check if it's that. And keep ensuring that you check her poop every day to see if there's any consistency change, if there's any color change in the poop. Black tarry poop can mean intestinal bleeding. Yellow poop may mean that she's allergic to something that she's eating.
Correct, correct. It's very important to monitor poop in
Yeah,
any animal that you have. Correct, correct. Even pasty poop. Poop can actually show you the food that you're giving is suiting your pet or not. Or if your dog or cat requires a diet change, or if you're changing diet too frequently, even then loose motions can happen. I've seen
true.
many people, they keep switching brands or flavors, which also leads to loose motions. So yes, very valid points. Okay, going to the next question. What is the best medicine to apply on abscess on rear leg joint?
See, on so I would say कि उसको you can wash it with I would say geranium thoda sa, because abscess पे geranium works wonders. It's an essential oil. You can just apply it over it, and hypercium ko dilute karke you can use it for washing it. Hypercium is a homeopathic medication.
And also, please stay in touch with your vet. Just make sure that
Yes,
the apple
yes,
is not
that is very,
infected.
very important. So these measures that we're telling you, these remedies we're telling you are for minor things or
Yeah,
for something that has happened that's an emergency and you don't have a vet to go to right now. But in regular cases, do get in touch with a professional before starting any treatment at all.
got it. Got it. What are the first aid to keep at home for emergency?
I would say you need coconut oil, virgin coconut oil, you need olive oil, you need arnica, you need aconite. Aconite works wonders for dogs who are in shock or, even during thunderstorms, it works out wonders. You might want to have grape seed fruit extract. You might want to have crab apple and rescue remedy at home. Olive oil, obviously, peppermint if it's a dog, not a cat. For cats, I do not recommend tea tree oil and peppermint oil. So
Yeah,
for dogs, you can
plant
have
oil doesn't work
peppermint
either.
essential oil and chamomile. Mint leaves or peppermint leaves you can have in store because they work wonders with colic issues.
Yes,
So these
yes.
are the few things that you might want to have handy if you have a dog or a cat.
Also, I would just like to add a little. I think isabgol, Psyllium
Yeah,
husk.
Isabgol, psyllium husk. Yeah, definitely. Isabgol is great for dogs who get constipated. So I would say go for it. Isabgol is really great.
Yeah, yeah. So what I do is my vet. So we have a basic medication for fever,
Hmm.
both homeopathy and allopathic, and I have dosages noted from my vet when to give how much, and then I always have probiotics at home. I never give antibiotics without checking with my vet. So basic things like probiotic, a fever medication, a pain
Yeah,
medication, and
probiotics may, I think if yogurt doesn't do the job, then you can also have enterogermin at home, I think.
enterogermin. And
It
enterogermin works wonders. And these
yeah.
days, this is new sachet that has started coming in the market called Diagel.
Hmm.
So it's also, I think it's a very refined form of Psyllium husk, and it also works wonders. Like I've used it a lot in dogs
Yes,
and
since
cats.
we were talking about just natural remedies, so I've left out like the ones that you get at a chemist or at a medical store. But if we talk about that, then I would say even gripe water, it works wonders. If you have it at home, power gel and gripe water for colic issues and digestive problems.
Great. So I think we have a follow up from Jolly, the dog, the GST that we were talking about with regular loose motions. She's dewormed regularly, weighs 26 kgs. The moment she's put on a gastro-specific veterinary diet, she gets better. Stool
Hmm.
tests, it looks like a gastric situation. So diet is
You
good.
might want to continue with the vet approved diet that you're going for. If you want to go for home meals, fresh is always better. Get in touch with a nutritionist, ask her to pull out a hypoallergenic or gastrointestinal meal chart for your dog. Fresh, understand guys, is always better. It is preservative free. But if your vet has something, and if it's a good vet, experienced vet, and if he has some kind of food that he would recommend for your dog, definitely go for it. And if you think that certain kind of food is suiting him more, stick to that one, because the other food might have something your dog is not tolerating. Because in most of the cases, Minty, I've seen it's allergies. Like I've seen there was this dog who was on Royal Canine, or I don't know, some brand of food, I don't remember, that had something that probably the dog was not okay with. Some dogs do not digest corn or maize easily. Some dogs are allergic to it, and some dogs are simply allergic to chicken. So you don't know what it might be in the new food that but it's suiting your dog. So I would say stick to that.
Hmm. Makes sense. Obviously, there's no point experimenting. If something suits, then absolutely go for it. For our 2-month puppy, what is the best time interval for deworming?
Best time interval for deworming is till 3 months. I would say every 15 days. After that, you go for a month and then you go for every 3 months and then every 6 months. So for that, you need to get in touch with your vet.
Yeah, it also depends on the history of your puppy. If your
Yeah,
puppy has
also adding these pumpkin seeds, pumpkin seed cut dry roasted pumpkin seed dried in powder. You can add 1/4 teaspoon to the meals. It is a natural dewormer and it's really really great for dogs.
always my dog has some allergies like itching, come hair fully fall. I think it's hair shedding and itching.
See, एक तो just make sure you're not bathing your dog too much. I would say if you're bathing your dog, just bathe them once in 2 months or so, because bathing too much can rip the coat of natural oils, and it can cause dry skin and dandruff to a dog. So make sure you're not doing that. Also, see if he's something allergic to, maybe that you're applying on the maybe a floor cleaner or maybe something that he's eating. If he's itching at a particular place and if there's a redness or a rash or something, just maybe try getting a culture done of that and check what allergy it is.
Yeah,
Or else you can just apply coconut oil mixed with the tea tree oil on the affected area. It does help. If it doesn't, then I would advise you to take your dog to a vet.
yeah, definitely. And allergies, yes, it can be allergies, but it can be a lot of other things as well. It can be as small as just stress, and as big as an underlying fungal or a bacterial infection that's growing on the coat. So yes, if this doesn't work, please see a vet. Is a coconut oil and camphor mixture good for skin ailments?
Uh, Camphor is it's okay. I would say I'm not very fond of using camphor on my own animals, though it works. But I think there are other herbs that are less harsher and work the same. I would say coconut oil and tea tree oil would be a better mix here. Rather than, and tea tree oil, you can even add a few drops of lavender oil. That works the same as camphor, and the smell and anything else is not as harsh as camphor is. So it can, the smell can kind of irritate your dog at times. So instead of that, go for virgin coconut oil, say 2 teaspoons of that, 5 drops of tea tree oil, and 5 drops of lavender essential oil.
Yeah. And for cats, I would not recommend this. Right? For cats, it's not like
No, for
safe.
cats, only coconut oil. Only coconut
Only
oil. Clean it with ACV. Probably clean the area with apple cider vinegar and then add a little bit of coconut in it. Then, apply some coconut oil to it. That's it.
yeah. Also, guys, always stay in touch with your vet, so that and let your vet know. Ask your vet what you're doing. That this is what I'm trying to do, and this is what I read. Anything that you read, anything that you hear, always check with your vet once, so that if anything escalates, if anything doesn't suit your dog, your vet should always be handy on the call to help you out.
It's always a good idea, Minty, to even get a set of allopathic medicines, at your place. Just ask your vet to, kind of create a first aid kit or a list for you that you can keep in handy, and you can ask him for the dosage. Since he knows your dog, I think he'll be a great person to go to this for.
Absolutely. So Akershika, would you recommend anything specific to this weather? Like, there's a weather from summers, now we are transitioning to winters, and then it's
Uh,
gonna get colder.
so this weather, I see a lot of cough happening. um, it's
Sneezing.
sometimes it's cold induced and sometimes it's just kennel cough. So I would say, if your dog is coughing too much at night, then arsen album is a great medication to keep up at home. It's a homeopathic medication. If it's a dry cough, you can keep bryonia at home. Again, that helps with the kennel cough, sort of dry cough. It really helps out a lot with that. Again, aconite, just to, so once the cough has subsided, just to make sure it doesn't recur, you can give aconite for 4 5 days to your dog to just or even your cat, to just ensure that it's the end of it. And then joint problems occur. I think a lot of dogs suffering from arthritis during this season suffer a lot.
Even
So for
with this.
them, I would say Boswellia serrata is the best thing that you can go for. It has terpenes in it. Same thing that CBD oil has. CBD oil
Oh,
is used for terpenes, and Boswellia has terpenes, and it's something that's native to India and much cheaper and as
oh,
effective. So use Boswellia serrata if your dog is suffering from maybe IBS or even arthritis. So for arthritis, this is an anti-inflammatory, and the terpenes help with the inflammation. So it's kind of a great thing to go for. But extract should be 65%, and you should give it only after reaching out to your nutritionist or to someone who knows how to work with it.
okay. What should be the dosage of Boswellia?
Boswellia, see, that depends if it's a 25 kg dog, or I would say 800 mg of that 65% boswellic acid. If the smaller dog, 12 kg dog, I would say 400 mg would suffice. But then it also depends on the, condition, how extreme it is. For some cases, we use a higher dosage. So it's always better to get in touch with a professional who knows what your dog is suffering from before going for it.
Can you please tell what can be done in winters for dry skin of dogs because they itch quite a bit in winters?
That's, I've seen something that happens a lot in monsoons as opposed to winters. Winters, there's a lot of shedding in some breeds, because some breeds tend to molt like huskies and they shed a lot during the season. So you might want to groom them properly. You might want to keep them groomed. Just feed them fresh. Don't feed them anything with allergens in it. And overall, if you find a specific area where they're itching more, just apply a little bit of coconut oil with tea tree oil over that area, just to calm that itching down. And if it still persists, you might want to check with your vet, why is this itching happening, because trust me, I have seen dogs itching a lot more in monsoons than in winters. That's just my personal experience.
Would you recommend what kind of grooming would you recommend in winters? Like for example, my dogs are very messy. They get dirty like
Mm.
a lot. And I'm a little skeptical about using dry shampoos. So what is your take on, what is the best, or we should just take them to groomers and get a blow dry and a shampoo done. But what is
See,
the best
some dogs,
home?
some animals react very badly to groomers. They have a lot of anxiety. So, if you can do it at home with your dog, that is a great bonding experience. Even with your cat, ka to, I know most of the people would go to a groomer. You don't want your cat to hate you. So, but with dogs, I would say just use a Furminator. I think it's available even DogSpot has it. I don't know, but the online store, I think I got my Furminator from them. So you can use a Furminator just to take off all the loose hair, because the loose hair clamping onto the coat can also make it a little dry. So fulminate your dog every day. Then there's a solution that I make, that is boiled water with one whole lemon, six crushed cloves of garlic. I boil it for 15 minutes. I strain it. I let it cool down, and after giving a bath, I just pour a layer of it on top of the dog. So the garlic in there really helps with the infections, and if there's anything that is infesting the dog, and the lemon is kind of has a cleansing effect. So I have found this very helpful for my dogs. Maybe you can do this. You can maybe sometimes just rub a little bit of coconut oil in your hand, and just rub your hand through the dog's fur, but not too much of it, just a few, maybe 1/4 teaspoon of it rubbed in your hands, and then just rubbing it on your dog's coat. Clean him daily with a wet towel instead of using a dry shampoo.
Got it. My lab is 10-year. He has sensitive skin.
Hmm.
So off late we shifted to NNT food for
Hmm.
last 1 month, but we are unable to understand what to give him as treats. We give him a little piece of pedigree jumbo. Is that okay? Can you suggest any treats? So this is a senior
I
dog.
So I'm not saying any treat, like I would say if you're going for treats, go for natural treats, go for treats that are preservative free. I think there are a lot of brands out there like Doggy Dabbas, they have their own. I think Rashi has the, those jerkies and all. You can go for those treats. Even I make preservative free treats, jerkies and everything. You can reach out to me for that. I would say whatever treat you're giving, make sure it's preservative free, make sure it's fresh, it has, no addends to it. So that would be a great thing to give to your dog. And just remember, so a dog has a specific caloric requirement every day. So suppose your dog requires say 800 calories every day, and if he's getting that from the food, and then additional 80 calories or 100 calories or 200 calories he's getting from the treat, then that can make the dog obese and create a lot of health issues. So make sure that you adjust it with his caloric intake, whatever treats you're giving, and not giving too much of it. Maybe reach out to your nutritionist for this.
Yeah, and it's a senior dog, so you have to be very careful about the nutrition content that goes in.
Yes, definitely.
Um, what is the combination of tea tree oil that can be used with coconut oil? So I,
So essential tea tree oil you can buy off Amazon or any trusted site or any trusted place that you can buy. I buy mine from, there's a website called ScentCart. They are based in Lucknow and they just make their oils out in the open. I've seen them making, so I just trust them. I get from them. So 1 teaspoon of coconut oil you can take and add 5 drops of tea tree essential oil per teaspoon.
got it. One second. I'm sorry, my dog just, my animals really like to participate in whatever I'm doing.
I'm jealous.
Okay. The skin becomes dry in winters because the top layer of the dog's skin is wear thin and skeptical to wear and tear.
What is? I just repeat that again. I didn't get it.
I'm sorry, I also didn't get the question. One second. The skin becomes dry in winters because the
Hmm.
top layer of dog skin is wear thin and skeptical to wear and tear. So maybe they're just talking about grooming only. I think we already covered that.
Dry skin? Are you talking about dandruff?
Looks like.
You can use a whenever you bathe and use a good clinical shampoo, maybe something like Clinar, Viber Akka, something of that sort that might help with the skin allergies and issues. Hi Ariel, thank you for joining us on Dogspot Live.
Okay. Yeah, you were talking about the shampoo. Sorry.
Yeah, I told her what to do, but now I just saw Ariel and I was like, let me say hi to her.
Okay, please share link for the treat. So you can find the treats on for Aakerschika, the one that she makes. You can find it on her
You
website.
can go to my website. It's goforrealnutrition.com. Um, if you can just maybe you can just type it down and you can share it on the screen.
Yeah, I'll
Or
just do
maybe
that.
someone can comment on that below. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about do's and don'ts in case of emergencies.
Hmm.
So, what 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 is emergency care? To understand, like, what do you mean by emergency care?
Your dog got hurt. Um, he got a sudden fracture. He fell somewhere. There's a sprain. There's a strain. There's a sudden fever, and there's a wound which there's excessive bleeding. So what you do, and of course, heat stroke, then diarrhea. These could be emergency issues when Sundays most vets are closed and you don't know what to do, where to take your dog, or if it's at night. So I would say in case of excessive bleeding, you can use things like arnica stems bleeding a lot. So you can use arnica to kind of control that bleeding, and you can use aconite for the shock or the trauma that that your dog went through. If there's a burn, then you can use aloe vera gel. If you have an aloe vera plant at home, that's great. I always advise people with pets to keep aloe vera plant at home. Use aloe vera gel on it. Urtica can be used. It's a homeopathic medicine. It can be given for pain. Then what else? Insect bite is an emergency. So in case of insect bite, again you can use urtica. tincture, or you can use, so you can clean the wound if it's a bee sting or if it's something that's, an insect bite. Just use apple cider vinegar. So this is again something that you should have as an emergency, medication. So apple cider vinegar, get raw and organic apple cider vinegar, clean the wound with that, clean the insect bite with that, and then just take a slice of onion and keep it on that. Don't let your dog eat that, but just keep it on that. That will take the sting away.
Okay, got it, got it. Is aloe vera safe for cats?
Uh, I won't say for internal consumption, no,
But it
but
can apply.
I have seen a lot of cat foods coming out with aloe vera. There's been a controversy with it. When we did the course, we were told that garlic is fine for dogs, aloe vera is fine for cats. We even learned that, lavender essential oil is great for cats.
Oh, but
But now we've seen contradictory studies coming in, but none of them have been proven as such. I know some dogs are kind of allergic to garlic,
yes,
but
yeah.
for most of them, it works wonders when there's some kind of infection, or even in, cases of where there's diarrhea. And aloe vera topically applied can be, used for burns and all. And aloe vera juice is really, really great for dogs that have and cats that have diarrhea.
Got it, got it. Please suggest shampoo for sensitive skin. As of now, we are using Captain Jack barking up the tree for itching and dry skin.
Barking up the tree is also a great shampoo. Another one that you can use is Cleanar. Uska. There's this Viberac allergy wala shampoo. I don't quite remember the name, but you can just Google Viberac and allergy. So there's one Cleanar M from Viberac that's great for sensitive skin, and there's this one called allergy something. I don't remember the name. It's from Viberac. You can use that as well.
Okay. Please explain something about homemade diet, which incorporates all the vital nutrients.
I didn't get you. Come again, please.
Please explain something about homemade diet, which incorporates all the vital nutrients. I think they mean a well balanced homemade diet.
See, well balanced diet is again that depends on your dog's condition. There has to be a proper amount of high quality protein in the diet, which comes from animal meat, which is chicken. There's mutton. There's duck. Duck is a hypoallergenic meat, and then there is fish. Fish has to be, given in moderation, but can be given for their EFAs. You can add a little bit of grains if your dog is not allergic to grains. You can add a little bit of vegetables, not the vegetables from nightshade family, not anything that is harmful to your dog. But then there are certain vegetables like carrots, pumpkins, green beans, spinach, broccoli, zucchini, cucumber that can be used in your dog's diet. So, but then if it has all the vital nutrients, that is something that your nutritionist will ensure. Because when being a nutritionist, whenever I make out a meal plan, I check all the nutrients in the meal. I check how much calcium am I getting, how much potassium am I getting, how much phosphorus am I getting, how much, everything. There's a list, and we follow that, and then we devise something that is nutritionally well balanced. Don't experiment at your place. Don't experiment by yourself, and don't depend on Google. Definitely.
Yes, even I see a lot of people, like many of my doctors, they uh, Google that, let's say, rice is okay to give, or some controversial advice like that. So, guys,
Hmm.
please, it's very important that you talk to a certified pet nutritionist or to your vet. Very important.
One thing I would say here, and I have been saying this out loud a lot, please don't go for ancestral diet for your dogs and cats. Not for your cats, for your dogs. Basically, don't go for the ancestral diet. That is just an anecdotal science. That is not a real science. Your dog has evolved over the years. He does need grains, he does need vegetables, he does need meat to survive. Just meat not giving any grains can lead to cardiac issues. Even the foundations like AFCO and National Research Council states this. So please, 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 please don't follow with the fad of this anecdotal diet. Sorry, anecdotal ancestral diet that you've been advised to. Don't do that.
Um, my dog has developed red colored rashes. What to do?
Take him to a vet, get the skin culture done. For now, if you're at home, apply some coconut oil if you have it, and mixed with some tea tree essential oil. Even if you don't have the tea tree essential oil, just apply some coconut oil. First, clean it with ACV, apple cider vinegar. Or if you don't have apple cider vinegar, you can just clean it with saline water and then apply uh, the oil. But take him to the vet tomorrow, get a skin culture done.
Yes, very important. Is it advisable to give Bravecto for ticks?
What? Brevecto.
Yeah.
I have heard good things about it. I have never used it on my own dogs, but I've heard good things about it. I would say go to your vet. Your vet would be the best one to suggest what to do. I'm not a vet. I'm a clinical pet nutritionist. I've just studied homeopathy and Bach remedies. I have no idea about allopathic medication. I mean, I do, but I cannot recommend them to you.
Because something remedies for ticks, something has to go inside the body, like ingestible medicines. It should always be coming from vets. Never even go with recommendations of other pet parents. I'll give you an example. um, my one dog, my vet doesn't give Bravecto. My vet prefers a spot on. My other two dogs, my vet prefers a Bravecto.
So
So
you're talking about the older dog doesn't get Bravecto, right?
yeah, my
Yeah,
like
because
my
it's advised with older dogs or dogs that might have heart issues to not give Bravecto. So it's always
correct.
better to check with your vet.
Correct. So always talk to your vet. Your vet will ask you questions related to your dog's health history and colic issues. Lot of things to consider when you're giving medicine. So talk to your vet about this. Coconut oil and ACV is good to feed dog with liver disease or not?
Liver disease, coconut oil is okay, but with liver disease, you have to ensure how much calories are going inside your dog system. 1 tablespoon, that is around roughly 14 grams of coconut oil, has 121 calories. That is a lot of calories. So please check the caloric content and requirement. Dogs with liver issues cannot be fed very high calories. Second thing, ACV is great for liver issues, for kidney issues. Even if your dog is not suffering from anything, adding ACV to his meals or to the water he drinks is a really great idea. It is a natural dewormer. It can not when I say natural dewormer, I don't mean that don't use the store bought one. Use that also, but this is just something that supports that. And also it can be used to clean wounds. It can be a natural antioxidant. Some studies show that. And then if your dog you're so giving ACV, most of the dogs that have ACV don't suffer from UTIs. So these are a few things that you can do, but coconut oil you have to see because it has a lot of calories in it.
Got it. Papaya and apple can be given. Also boiled egg. I think they're just trying to advise someone. My lab is 2.5 years old. He eats only homemade regular foods. Is he getting proper nutrition?
He eats what?
Regular, homemade regular foods.
Homemade regular food. What do you mean by homemade regular food?
I think
You cannot give whatever you want to your dog. You need to see, go get in touch with a nutritionist that the meal that is customized for your dog will be well rounded nutritionally. Whatever you are giving, you don't know what vegetables can give what nutrients, what nutrients come from protein. You don't know how many calories should come from protein, how many calories should come from fats, how many calories should come from carbs. If you are not knowledgeable about this, 99% of the chances that what you are giving is not well balanced for your dog.
Got it. So when you talk about well balanced, what do you mean by well balanced here?
See, Minty, every dog has a different metabolized energy requirement, right? So that metabolizable energy he should get in that one day. Out of, so energy is basically the calories we're talking about here. How much calorie does this dog need? So that totally depends on the dog's age, activity level, and weight. We first calculate that, and from there we then decide कि कितना calories किस चीज से आ रहा है. Like certain amount of calories should come from protein, certain amount of calories should come from carbs like grains, and certain amount of calories would be coming from fats, right? So we balance that out, and then we add vegetables, like maybe pumpkin, like carrots, that are high on folate, that are high on potassium, some that are high on maybe proteins or iron. So we make sure that all the minerals and all the vitamins your dog is getting in balance, and a meal is customized for him as per his energy requirement. That will be a well balanced meal where everything is in the right quantity.
So, Krishika, when you are designing meal plans, do you also include homemade remedies or do you also
Yes,
suggest natural remedies? Okay,
yes,
for
yes.
different conditions,
Yeah.
both for dogs and cats.
Both for dogs and cats. If there's, I obviously, most of the cases I ask for a CBC, KFT, LFT of the animal. If, see, does it, just because the animal appears healthy doesn't mean he is. So I just, to make sure, take that, and then if there's any health issue, I do add the remedies, and I do add the daily cleaning tips, and the natural remedies that you can make at home.
Got it. Uh, we have a question. Are commercial food better or home cooked food?
I can ask the same thing to you. What do you think, Mohit? Are commercial food, is commercial food better for you, or something that you cook at home that's fresh? Anything with preservatives in it. Kibble or dog food is something that is easily available. That is the easiest way out, and just because it's easy for you, I don't think it's something that you should be giving to your dog, because it has a lot of preservatives in it. It has a lot of additives in it, and then you don't know the meat source. I know a lot of big companies, I'm not going to name any, that do get their meat source from roadkills also. You should, it's always better to know what's going in your dog's plate, rather than depending on somebody processing something to the extent where it's not even recognizable and then giving it to your dog. Plus, kibble also soaks up all the stomach fluids. So it can cause kidney issues, because then there's no fluid left to go inside your dog's kidney, and it pulls a toll on the kidney. It can cause electrolyte imbalances. It is, I mean, there are studies that do say that, indicate that it can cause cancer also. So just be sure. If you're buying, it has to be a very, very good brand.
Hi, are there any effective natural home remedies for calluses?
Uh, I would again say coconut oil would work here.
I have a street dog. She's 10.5 years old. She does not eat anything except khichdi with chicken. Sometimes she loses her appetite and does not eat also. How can I make her eat something else?
I would say don't give her khichdi, especially if it has salt in it. That's going to cause a lot of issues. Give her maybe some rice water. You can add to the meal. You can add a little bit of whey water. You can add chicken. You can add vegetables. You can add, if you're adding, if you want to add grains, just add, just get whole grains like Instead of using rice, use brown rice. Even if you're using white rice, that's fine. But then it should be in the right quantity. Make sure you're adding more of chicken and then, more of grains. There has to be a balance there.
My 10-month-old lab is losing a lot of hair for about last 4 months, but without any bald patches. Wet suggests some tonics, but it didn't work. Any suggestions?
Uh, Again, I would say go for ferminator. Ferminate him every day. You can add grapefruit seed extract to his meals, 15 drops, 10 to 15 drops, depending on his weight. I think it's a lab 10-month-old, you can add 15 drops. Add grapefruit seed extract, not grape seed, grapefruit seed extract to the food. That will, if there are any toxins in the system, that will get rid of the toxins. So if this is something that is caused by, because most of the times it's just toxins that are causing this in the body, so that will take care of it.
Also with pups, I've seen that a lot of things come into picture, like is your pup getting enough exercise or not? It's a 10-month-old lab, very active. Are you giving enough exercise or not? Are you ensuring that he gets 3 to 4 times walk in a day? Your pup is not getting stressed out or anxious. Even that can cause hair shedding. So if it's not stopping, it is also good to talk to your vet. Maybe there's some diet deficiency, maybe there's some underlying skin issue that you're
So,
not able to
deficiency of vitamin E, white and EFAs, especially omega 3, P, and DHA might cause this.
correct, correct. And please talk to your vet before you give any such supplementation, or talk to a nutritionist. Do not administer these supplements without talking to a professional, because excessive of this can also cause problems.
Right.
My pug suffers from fungal infection. Is there any natural remedy?
For fungal infection, don't feed him grains for now because it will grow on the sugar. So don't feed him any grains for now. If you're feeding him food, feed him grain-free food. This is only till he's better. Once he's better, you can feed him grains, and apply coconut oil along with tea tree oil to the infected area, and ask your vet what all can he give. Some topical ointment that he can give for you to administer.
Also, I would say hygiene. Like when my dog had fungal, I was ensuring to change her sheets twice a day, make sure everything is washed, because there's something called fomites. If the dog keeps coming in contact with the bacteria or the fungus causing the infection, it will form a cycle and it will never get fixed. So make sure that you're disinfecting wherever the dog sits, sleeps, touches those areas also pretty well. So that's also something that you should be looking after. Aakashchika, how to contact you? My 6 years old lab suffering from liver problems want to consult with you. Please give contact detail.
I think I'm tagged here. You can just go to my link and you can send me a message, or you can go to my website, goforrealnutrition.com. You can get in touch with me from there.
My puck suffers from cold frequently. What can be done?
Okay, for cold, I've already said if it's a lot of coughing at night, give arsen, albumin. It's a pug, so just give 2 drops or 2 pellets thrice a day. For 4 to 5 days, you can give again if it is a dry cough, you can give bryonia. These are the two medications that work really well with cold. Also, you can apply little bit of this. Add a few drops of peppermint oil to water and you can give him steam. Usse. That also helps.
And any which ways, pugs have problems. Most
Yeah,
I've
they
seen.
have breathing issues. They have a brachycephalic muscle, so
Yeah,
that's a breed that suffers from it.
yeah. I'm feeding dog food for my female dog, and she has stopped coming into heat. Is that because of artificial feed? Is there any change where I can feed
Yeah,
natural
it
food?
could be because of that, or it could be just check with your vet. It could be some kind of infection because of which the vulva hasn't yet opened.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if she's coming into quarterly heat or she's because a lot of females these days are coming into quarterly heats. So check that out. It could be because of the food. Try feeding fresh and get a test done. See if the hormones are in place. Check for
Yes.
any thyroid or any other hormonal issues in your dog.
Yeah, you should definitely see a vet and get these tests done.
Mm.
My cat has pancreatic disorder. His amylase is high as 2365, which is almost double. We live in Kolkata, and my cat is fed on rice and fish or chicken. What should be his proper diet? No pancreatic supplements for
No, no fish, no fish. First, no fish. Fish is high on phosphorus, and can cause thiamine deficiency in your cat. So, fish should be given only in moderations, or sometimes just as a little bit of fish, just as snack. Don't go for a lot of fish. Don't give rice to your cat. Cats are not meant to eat rice. Give chicken. You can add a little bit of pumpkin to it. Amylase is high. Now this is, I have seen this quite this thing happening a lot in cats. Minty, what's your take on that? Because I have heard some vets saying that it is quite becoming common in cats that the amylase is high. And what about the pancreas itself? Is there any increase in size? Is there any inflammation that you see in the ultrasound that also you need to write down here?
Yes, ultrasound is very important in this, like super important. And yes, I do know that this is becoming an issue these days, and I think diet is a lot responsible.
I have a client who has a cat with high amylase, Ananya. You know her, right? She has a cat with high amylase, but otherwise the cat is healthy. There is no other issue apart from the amylase being high.
That's very strange. Okay.
Yeah. I think Minty, the time is up. It's already 7, and we our life has extended a little. I thank you all for asking so many questions. It's
And so many
always,
interesting questions. Yeah.
yeah. You can always I'll join you again with another live. We can catch you there, and whatever questions you have, you can just send it to me directly on my Insta or on my Facebook, and I can just respond to them there maybe.
Yeah, maybe we can just take this last one. Tear
Hmm.
stains for maybe we can cover tear stains for cats and dogs. My
uh
puppy tear stains. Any home
So
remedy
tear
for this?
stains for Salem had a lot of those. For her, I used coconut oil and ACV to clean it, and it took care of that. Just clean the area. Don't don't drop it in the eye. Just near the eyes, not too close to the eye. First, clean it with little ACV, or you can just use plain water to clean it. Let it dry. Dry it with a cloth, and then apply a little bit of coconut oil in that area. That has helped me a lot with one of my cats who was staining near the eyes.
And Tanvi, do check with your vet. It can be infection also.
Yeah,
Just
sometimes the tear ducts are closed, so that's also why they kind of stay in there.
yeah, even mites cause this a lot. If your
You can
dog
do
has
this 4 to 5
mites.
times a day, Tanvi. You can do this 4 to 5 times a day.
All right, I think we should end the session now. We've
Yeah,
exceeded our time quite a lot. Thank you everybody for joining. It was lovely today,
yeah.
and all take care and stay safe.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks.